Hello everyone, this is Allison, and this is just a quick overview of this week's assignment and the topic that we're covering in Chapter 1. I've never done a assignment specific lecture before, but it's something I'm trying out, and I hope it will be really helpful for you guys and will prove to be a really good tool as you approach this week's essay. So here is the overview for what I'm going to be covering. I am going to try to do it fairly quickly. I know I have a lot of other videos that I've posted this week, a lot of other announcements and resources, so I don't want to overwhelm you. And I'll try to keep this fairly brief. Do pay attention to the gold stars because they highlight things that I think will be especially helpful for you. Here are the assignment requirements. You are being asked to write an essay with 1,000 words minimum. You do need to meet 1,000 words. I am pretty strict about that. The 1,000 words does not include the title, section headers, long quotes, or any of that other fluff. I've been doing this for a long time, so I can definitely tell if you are just trying to pad your essay with lots and lots of quotes and statistics and things like that. If you are going to use a long quote of over 40 words, it needs to be in its own double-indented paragraph, and it does not count towards the word count for the rest of the essay. Short, brief quotes would count, but I would still caution you to keep that to a minimum. I do not ask for an abstract. I don't think they're really useful for assignments of this length. And as long as you're meeting that 1,000-word minimum, you're not going to get any pushback from me. You don't need to do way more than that. That's fine. Just as long as you're meeting that minimum, then I will be satisfied. Please make sure you are using 3 to 5 academic sources. In this context, more actually does mean better. So if you are able to support your discussion with even more sources and in-text citations, that's great. If you do not know how to cite your source, or you don't know what qualifies as an academic source, you need to go back and look at the tutorials that I posted a couple days ago, because those do cover all that information. The textbook does not count as an academic source, but you should still be using it and you still need to cite it. Helpful resources. All right, well, these are the sources that I found to be most helpful for this essay. Chapter 1 from your text really does a great job of giving you a very solid foundation for this essay, and the ethical policy is just a great supplement. You can kind of see how what we talk about in Chapter 1 plays out in the real world. These two articles with the gold stars, these are academic sources. So if you are struggling to find academic sources or just need really good examples of what academic sources look like for this type of assignment, these are some good ones. They have some really great information. They are pretty long, so they might take a while to go through, and they're very detailed, I found, but they really provide some great insights and some really good real world examples of how the concepts that we discuss in Chapter 1 really play out. So if you are struggling to find academic sources, feel free to use these. Okay, legal and ethical frameworks. That is the subject for this essay. In case you are unaware, the word framework in this sense just means guide. It's just the rules and limits within which we're operating for this topic. This is kind of a big subject. It's very difficult to condense it down to just one slide, but I am going to do my best. I think you'll really need to be paying attention to the way Chapter 1 defines both of these terms, because I'm not going to be able to really explore that in a brief amount of time. But I think the takeaway from this chapter is that law and ethics are not competing ideas. These are not two things that work against each other. They work well together. They have a very symbiotic relationship. The law is a lot more limited than ethical considerations, but it supports ethical considerations, and it's a great way to implement policies or implement ethical endeavors. We have to operate within the law, but the law is not the guiding force behind our decisions. So please take a moment to read through my notes here, because I think it really condenses what chapter 1 says, but you're going to have to read through chapter 1 in order to get the whole meat of this subject. And I will post additional thoughts and ideas about it as well. But I think the real takeaway is that these are two frameworks that work together, and you need both in order to be a really effective healthcare administrator. Okay, so this is a fairly specific outline that you might choose to follow for your essay this week. You're definitely not obligated to do so, but what I noticed is this is a very specific topic, but the prompt was a little bit vague, and it kind of set up this idea that ethics and law are competing values, and as we just discussed, that's not the case. So I thought you might find it a little bit difficult to compare and contrast these two ideas once you've kind of come to the realization that they are not competing or opposite values. So this is the way that I thought would be easiest to set it up. And you're free to use it or not use it. If you figure out a better way to set up your essay, then that's totally fine. But please note that I did include several reminders about where you need to be including citations. Anytime you present novel information, you need to provide a citation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go back and watch the lecture on that topic that I posted the other day. Also, you'll notice here in the corner, I have a little hint that this is a great way to set up all of your essays, basically for any class. This is a very basic model for setting up a discussion. It doesn't work for every topic or every prompt, but it's a really good basis. Okay, so I promised to keep it short, and I did my very best. You might disagree that this was not that short of a lecture, but hopefully you did find it helpful. My last things that I might leave you with are, please review the materials, especially chapter 1 and the supplemental materials that I provided, because I think that it will be very obvious if you did not read the required reading for this week, and then you try to complete this assignment. Make sure you go over the assignment expectations. That's, what you should be doing the first day of every unit. Start as soon as you can, because sometimes, things come up. Don't wait until, Sunday at midnight, because I'm not going to be able to help you then. If you do have issues, please let me know as soon as possible, because I want to make this as simple and straightforward as possible. Like I said in my introduction, I don't have any interest in you being confused or frustrated. And then after this assignment, make sure that you review my feedback, because I do build upon feedback each week. So if I have to mention it multiple times, you're going to see it really start impacting your grade if there's something that comes up every single week and you're not addressing it. So please check out the feedback that I leave on your first assignment, and let me know if you have questions or concerns. All right. Thank you guys for paying attention. I really appreciate it.